Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show on this Wednesday. Delighted to have your company. I'm Peter Martin. As ever on the Wednesday, Alan Ruff and Barry Ferguson are with me to talk over these main issues. Yep, lots to get into tonight. Let's start with, of course, the ongoing battle with referees. Of course, over the last 24 hours and beyond, there's been the suggestion that the clubs would be looking for foreign referees to be brought in. There's a statement that's come out representing the referees in response to that, and it's basically, if there's substance to today's media reports, that the SFA are in talks with clubs about introducing overseas-based officials. It's another appalling development. Everyone involved agrees that the professionalism and standards in many areas of Scottish football needs to be driven up. At present, the association continues to refuse to afford referees basic worker status as they carry out their vital duties. The SFA has refused to respond to our calls to address serious health and safety concerns in recent months, and this is another potentially serious development. We will seek that the SFA urgently clarifies its position on this matter. So that's a statement coming out from the referees. I think we are now, and I've mentioned it today in the column, Ruffy, I think we are in the gutter in Scottish football. I think any clubs that are calling for foreign referees need to have a long, hard look at themselves. I think it's despicable.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately it seems to be our two big clubs are the ones that are sort of pushing for this one. And if I'm a referee and I'm coming up through all the grades and I'm getting to the highest grade, I don't want to be, seen to be somebody to say, no, you're not getting that big game, and we're bringing somebody else in. I think it's shocking as well, because it doesn't matter who you bring in, they're going to make mistakes as well. They're only human. It doesn't matter where you're from or how good you are, they make mistakes. And we should stick by the guys who are putting the effort in to get to where they are. Well,
that's a view shared by the Scotland manager, Alex McLeish.
It's just the scrutiny, it's like everything else now. We've got social media, we've got social network now. There's absolutely no hiding place. I feel for the referees. I was always sympathetic, even in my day with the referees, and I always tried to be as, no saying friendly, not trying to get decisions, but it was more, accepting that they had a job to do and we had a job to do. And I feel obviously the scrutiny now is absolutely intense, and give these guys a break. Let's get behind it. I say back our boys. That's my stance on it.
I agree with Alex McLeish, Barry. There is social media, there is a social platform, but you don't need to listen and pander to morons who have questioned referees, their allegiance, who they supported as a boy, all these ridiculous accusations against referees. There are some bad referees who should be demoted, but I think we've got to get the clubs to get their hands in their pockets, get VAR and help them.
Yep, I totally agree with Alex McLeish there. I think it's a ridiculous thing to come out with. Look, I watch plenty of games myself, and look, as you mentioned, there is some bad referees, but there are also some good referees up here, and that's the case in every single league, even down in England, Spain, Italy. I think he's spot on. They've got a hard enough job as it is, and if these people are going to listen to social media platforms, well, I think that's ridiculous as well.
I think clubs seriously have to look at their own players, because most of the debate that we've been happening is the way that their players have been behaving and getting red cards here and tackles here and tackles there.
None of them want to take responsibility for the conduct of them, though, Ruffy.
Exactly.
It's a classic case of deflecting away from it, and I would use the situation where I think Stuart Robertson, again, we go back over it with the managing director of Rangers, by all means, clarify what's going to be reviewed on the Monday. But I think the other points that he was making totally deflects away from the fact that the players that are up in the dock have acted in a way that has prompted an investigation, a disciplinary process, a review of their conduct. Take responsibility for your players. Try not to shout the loudest to deflect away from the performance of the team.
Yeah, but I agree with you 100%. You know, as I said there, you know, some of the tackles have been outrageous. Some of the off-the-ball stuff's been ridiculous.
No, that's you're talking about right across the board.
Yeah, right across the board, every game. You know, and you're right. You know, at the end of the day, the judgment is then on the referee, because the referee never correct it right in their mind, in their opinion. I
looked at it this morning, Barry, and I thought to myself, Scottish football is a laughing stock. It's embarrassing at the moment. Yep. Foreign refs, that's the latest one. I'd written a list down. Refs and pundits with death threats against them. Rangers obviously coming out and saying they feel victimised by the national broadcaster. Chris Boyd, Neil Lennon hit by coins, sectarian abuse, racist abuse, vandalism inside the stadium, flares, and of course we're playing in plastic pitches in the top flight. How much more can we add to making us a laughing stock?
Yeah, well, when I read that this morning about bringing foreign refs in, look, the referees, as I'm saying, I'm not saying that they're first-class referees, but they certainly need help. And you mentioned a couple of minutes ago, the only way they're going to get help is if we bring in VAR. That's going to help them. Look, they're only human. They're going to make mistakes. But that happens everywhere. So I think it's a ridiculous comment that they're wanting to bring in foreign referees. I think we've got some good referees up here, some that aren't so good, but that's the case in every single league, as I keep mentioning.
We had a big European Championship there, and we're going to VAR nearly every 10 minutes. So does that mean the top referees that are at the European Championships aren't calling it right? You know, it just shows you they're only human. They only can give what they see.
Yeah. You can give us your view on that on social media. Give us your thoughts on this on YouTube, Facebook, and of course on Twitter as well. Rangers against Kilmarnock, Scottish Cup replay. Steven Gerrard, has he suddenly suggested that maybe this is the last chance of silverware? Has he given up on the league?
I wouldn't say he's given up now the league. I think he's just trying to take a bit of shine away for the boys, not a bit of pressure away for the team. Obviously with a disappointing result against St Johnstone, I think it is key. They've got to win this game tonight. Look, the league's going to be difficult. 8 points behind Celtic. This is their only chance of silverware. But listen, they're coming up against a tough Kilmarnock team. They're a hard nut to crack, Kilmarnock. I've been very impressed with them. I've no fear in them. They're so well drilled under Steve Clarke. It's going to be a hard one tonight. But listen, the key is, for me, the main guy's back, Morelos. He makes such a difference, and I'm sure he will be the difference tonight.
Our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi looks ahead to the game.
Rangers and Kilmarnock play each other for the 6th time this season when they meet in tonight's Scottish Cup replay. A place in the quarter-final against Aberdeen is at stake, and both teams will be desperate to remain in the Cup, otherwise their season could threaten to peter out. Andy Halliday has called the match the biggest game of the season, and it very well could be. Steven Gerrard has criticised his players for their recent displays, both stalemates, so he'll be looking for a reaction. Ryan Jack and Scott Arfield are doubtful for the game, and Alan McGregor is banned, but the talismanic Alfredo Morelos will lead the Rangers line. For Kilmarnock, the Scottish Cup represents a chance to have something to show for possibly the best team they have had in recent times. They haven't won in 5 games, but Steve Clarke's record against the old firm is impressive. Jordan Jones, who will join Rangers in the summer, was the last scorer of a goal in this fixture. Will he be the difference again tonight?
I think Killie are going to go and have a go, Ruffy, just basically because, as Gabriel mentioned there, they've got a good record against both halves of the old firm.
Yeah, I mean, Barry will know more than anything else. You know, teams that go to Parkhead and Ibrox, you know, there's a fear factor there. But if you get a couple of good results off them, you go there without that fear factor and you feel a wee bit more relaxed in it. But I just think Rangers have got more scoring power than Kilmarnock, you know, and obviously I think that's why they'll just edge it.
OK, let's all go for the prediction then. I think Rangers will edge it 2-1.
Yeah, I think they'll win it by a couple of goals. I'll go 2-0 because, as I keep saying, it's a massive game and they need to put a performance on.
Yes or no? Do the Rangers fans turn on Steven Gerrard if they don't win?
No, I think they've got to look at the season in a whole. They're certainly improved since he's come in.
OK. Ruffy?
2-0. Rangers.
OK, there you have it. You always get an opinion on the programme after the break. We'll start to look at the other Scottish Cup replay and the Highland Derby from last night. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's football show. Let's first of all, before we discuss Celtic over in Spain against Valencia, what about that cup replay last night, Ruffy? It suddenly went to the penalty shootout, and in the end, Inverness triumphed by 5-4.
Yeah, I got the result right and I got the extra time right. I just didn't get the penalty kick winners right. All credit to them. I thought they should have won it in the first game, so that's maybe the way Rob will look at it. And what a fantastic opportunity for two championship sides to get to a semi-final.
Yeah, another thing about it as well is I think taking a penalty kick is a skill. I don't think there's this kind of... There's a lottery element to it at times, but I think if you work at it, and Robbo says he'd got the players taking penalties from 15 yards out and just practising and making sure that they'd picked their spot, and so it proved on the night. I don't know about you. Do you think it's just, your potluck?
No, it's part of the game. I mean, when we played in the semis, our finals, we knew it would have went to penalties. We always practised a couple of days leading up.
Good at them?
I was... no bad until I missed two at Dens Park one day. And we actually done that. A few of the boys, we never took it for 12 yards, same as you just mentioned, Robbo done with the players. We took them 14, 15 yards out.
Yeah.
Just to try and get your accuracy spot on. So that's a good idea. But no, it was a good game. I watched the highlights when I came in last night for training. And I thought the first leg, Inverness were the better team, if I'm being honest. And I thought again the same last night. So as Ruffy says, what an opportunity for a championship club to get to a semi-final.
Yeah, I think I looked at the statistics. There was one of these reports into penalty kicks, Ruffy, and they reckon that if you can play it high, left and right, because the keeper tends to dive, the greater percentages will get you the goal, I know there's no point in talking to you about penalty kicks because you've very rarely saved one.
No, the first thing you've got to do is go the right way. And if you're going to dive before the ball for a split second before the kick, you're leaving yourself wide open. If you do go the right way and it's a poorly kicked penalty, then you've got a chance of saving it. But I think the goalkeepers now are getting a bit wise to this down the middle. If you watch them all, they always trail their leg now and hoping there might be just a wee nick on their leg to save it.
Yeah, you're better placed than most on this. Inverness now have a game against Dundee United. Who would you pick from those two sides?
Dundee United, I think, have brought in a better quality of players, in that window there, and I think they'll be motoring towards that. But I've said all along that the Championship, there's nobody miles in front of anybody else. On a given day, you get a chance to win the games.
Valencia against Celtic. Gabriel takes a look at the game.
Celtic travel to Valencia on Thursday evening with little chance of progressing to the next stage of the Europa League. The Scottish champions were dispatched 2-0 at Celtic Park last week, with their performance drawing much criticism. The odds are stacked against the Hoops. They've never won in Spain in 15 attempts, and they've only drawn 3 of those games. The bookies have them at 5-1 to win and a huge 16-1 to qualify. Now, despite this, Brendan Rodgers still remains hopeful.
We go next week to Valencia. It'll be a very, very difficult game for us, but if we can get the first goal, then it can bring a different possibility for us.
Now, the game will, of course, be played at the Mestalla, which is one of the most iconic stadiums in Europe, renowned for its steep stands. And that's where 50,000 fans will see if Celtic decide to stick or twist. If they go all out, they could be humbled by the Spaniards, yet an early goal could rattle the home crowd. And how can they nullify Valencia's influential central midfield pairing of Kondogbia and Parejo, but at the same time offer a greater attacking threat than they did last week? We'll find out tomorrow night, but don't miss it. It's on at an earlier time of 5:55.
Well, I'm sorry, I just cannot see anything other than another painful 90 minutes for Celtic. When I'm listening to so many people talk about, Celtic just weren't at it last week, Ruffy, I don't think they were allowed to be at it. I think Valencia were head and shoulders above them. The standard, the technical ability of their players. I can see this being another 2 or 3.
I don't know about 2 or 3. I think that'll depend on Valencia, what their approach to the game is. They'll think they've got the game done and dusted. It depends whether they try and go out and get another one just to make sure. If they don't, then obviously Celtic might get a couple of chances, but I don't think they've got enough in the locker to go there and win 3-0. So I think Valencia will score, and unfortunately Celtic will be out.
Yeah, watching the game, I was very impressed with Valencia. As you just mentioned there, technically they were a lot better than Celtic. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a long, hard night for Celtic. I can see Valencia winning with a couple of goals.
Yeah, it's a strange fixation they have at the moment. And, you know, I watched Liverpool last night in the Champions League, and I can understand the way Brendan Rodgers wants to play. But I can't help but think, and I can't help but look back on the comment that used to come from Jock Stein with regards to the teams that he put out. He never asked a player to do something he wasn't capable of doing, and I would imagine Walter Smith was the same with your team when he put it together. There's no use in saying to someone like, you know, let me give you an example, and I'm not being in any way disparaging towards Lee McCulloch. I want you to go and try and beat 3 men and then maybe hit one, you know, then maybe hit one from 30, 40 yards. That's maybe not his game, you know. Maybe the same situation with yourself, you know. He thrives on keeping the ball, but he wants to play it out from the back. And I thought Valencia last week just closed them down in tight spaces. They couldn't keep the ball.
Yeah, if we were playing against a top European team, we were honest with each other. Look, are we going to beat them at football? Technically, they're better. Yes, they are. If they come to our place, we just made it hard for them. We just get in their faces. We never played. I mean, if we were playing in the Premier League at Ibrox where we could get the ball down and play, that was fine. But when you're coming up against better players, sometimes you've got to hold your hands up and say, right, if we play them at their game, they're going to beat us. So the only other thing for us is to make it difficult and an uneasy night for them and get in their faces. And normally European teams don't enjoy that, and that's what we done. And that was the basis of us doing well in Europe.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect tactic. And I wonder if Brendan Rodgers needs to actually have a rethink about how he approaches Europe. Now, obviously some people will say, wait a minute, you're writing them off before a ball is kicked. You know, I'm sorry, I'm just giving you my view on watching them against Celtic. And I just think he's got to maybe take a leaf out of former Celtic managers, Ruffy, and start to play a bit more defensive and then try the counter.
Yeah, if you want to build up for the back, it's all about the players you've got at your disposal. I think last night was a perfect example. You have Bayern players who are so comfortable on the ball. They were just building up. The goalkeeper was just pinging balls left, right and centre. Players were coming forward because they were comfortable taking the ball in the 18-yard line and passing it out without any fear at all. But that's because they had quality players.
I mean, the game has changed so much, Barry, because at one point, and you're right, Manuel Neuer for Bayern Munich, he's about to take a goal kick, and the two fullbacks are on the 18-yard area in line with him. And it's almost as if they're saying, well, we'll wait to see how high Liverpool press, but I'm still going to play that pass.
Yeah, but it's I think it was the two centre-backs that go each end of the box and they fire it out and they fire it back in. He's just singing the ball everywhere. He's like
it's the same when the defenders get into trouble. They just go, here, Neuer, have that. Here,
That's a big part of modern day football. The goalkeepers have got to be very good on the ball.
Yeah.
They've got to be comfy on it. And you see quite a lot. I mean, going to watch when I was out the game, going to watch various teams, the goalkeepers actually didn't do goalkeeping training to start with. They went in the boxes, the possession boxes, with the outfield players. That's what they done quite a bit.
To your credit, Ruffy, I think you would have survived in the modern day game because you were good with the ball at your feet.
Yeah, well, I was always out at the 18-yard line anyway, and then it come over. We pressed up, and then it come over the top. I was comfortable enough to come out and take it, and obviously, once I got it, I gave it to somebody who was going to do something with it. But it's just about the style of play and how you, like Barry said, I used to play out quite a lot in the wee bounce games. Well, we were a frustrated striker, but at least you were comfortable. You knew when the ball came to you, you knew you had a good touch and you could get rid of it.
Yeah, I still think Liverpool have got a chance in this one. I think Leon may have blown it with a 0-0 against Barcelona.
I don't think you can write Liverpool off. I don't think they've been playing the best the last few weeks, but they've still got so much quality. That front three is always going to be dangerous away from home. So I wouldn't write them off. I still think they've got a chance.
Yep, it's a big night for us, Barry. Atletico Madrid could be really, really difficult for them if Ronaldo's got his shooting boots on.
I think there's only going to be one winner. I'm so confident with Juventus. I just think they're a solid unit, and obviously they've got a few star players that can finish games off. So,
are you worried, Ruffy?
No, I'm just looking forward to the 10 points they put up. If Juventus go out, I'm just waiting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the only thing that will get you back in the running in the predictions. I think 1-1 in Spain.
Yeah, I think it'll be tight in Spain, but I think Juventus will take them over in Italy.
1-0 Atletico and then 1 each over there.
Okay, Schalke, Man City. I'll go for Man City to get the win tonight as well.
Yeah, I know I've went for Juventus, but I think Man City is their best chance to win the Champions League this year, so them.
Yep, Man City, a win for me.
Okay, there you have it. It's all about opinions. You can give us yours on social media. And of course, don't forget, Monday to Friday, we're bringing you the football show from Ruffy, Barry and myself. Thanks for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.